Hi guys, bienvenue to my channel. My name is Efeolo Aishola. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking and always returning back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Now, during these past few weeks, I've received amazing, massive support from you guys, and trust me, I am so grateful for it. Thank you for the views, for the comments. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for those of you that have just joined this family. You are welcome, and I trust that you're going to have an amazing time with us on this channel. Now, this video, or should I say the start of this video, I have a lot of questions people sent in concerning relocating out of Nigeria, and the questions are many, guys. And if I said I should answer them in one video, it's going to be too long. So this video is going to be like series, you understand? I'll be taking these questions one at a time and breaking them into different sessions so we can have series of these videos, more like how you can relocate out of Nigeria. So trust me, this is the right time to hit your notification bell because you do not want to miss any of these videos. And continue to drop your questions down in the comment section. The ones that I can answer, I will. And if I cannot, I'm going to direct you to the right place to get them answered. You understand? Okay, right? So if this sounds like something you are interested in, come on soon. Okay, guys, as I said earlier on, I had a lot of questions that people sent in, and I kind of use these questions to break my videos into series, if you understand what I mean. So some of these questions, I've grouped them into like getting to school, going about your visa processing, how you can like the document you need to get ready and all these things. So I kind of break them down, and I will be addressing each one like after one. Yeah, and I'll be addressing each one in every video, if you understand what I mean. So in today's video, we're going to be talking more basically about picking a school. How do you know the right school to pick? Because some of the questions I got, I have them down here on my laptop. Some is like, how do I pick a school? How do I know the best school to pick? What are the criteria I need to look out for in picking a school? Another asks that, how do I relocate out of Nigeria? Can an HND order apply to the UK? Like all these questions are the one that has helped me to group this video into saying, this one I'm going to be talking about how you should pick a school, like how to pick a school in the UK, or should I call it how to relocate out of Nigeria through academic purpose. Now, the first question was, how can you relocate out of Nigeria? Like there are a lot of ways you can relocate. You can relocate through academic purposes, work purposes. Some goes through PR, different ways. I think. But then I relocated through academic route. Yeah, I'm here for my postgraduate studies in United Kingdom, and that's one way in which me I used in coming out of Nigeria. Now other people went out with work, others PR, others whatever it is. Okay, so there are many ways you can relocate out of the country. Now, the major one that I concern about, that I know about, is through academic route, and that is you going for either your postgraduate or your undergraduate studies or postdoctoral studies outside the country. Now, how do you know the school to pick? Well, I would say that there are some things that you need to look out for in picking a school. Number one thing is, what is your course of study? What do you want to study? Because what I came across when I was planning to live in Nigeria is that a lot of people actually pick schools, they pick course rather that is they're not interested in. Courses are probably even different from their background, but they just pick those courses because they feel like just let's get one school and then let's move out of Nigeria, if you understand what I mean. So pick a course that you are interested in. That is going to narrow down the schools that are actually offering that course that you want. Another criteria I would say you should look out for is the city at which the school is situated. Okay, now that you know UK has different pan. We have the Scotland, we have London, we have Wales, and what's even the fourth one? Island. Yeah. So these four parts, you have them like that at different part of cities, whatever it is. So make sure you do your research. Now I'm in Wales, and one of the reasons why I picked Wales was because I read that it has a quiet place life. It's more like a community life. It's quiet. It has a lot of beaches. Yeah, that was one of the things why I decided to pick it. And because I do not like noise, I love beach. And what's another thing? I do not just want a porous environment, if you understand. And if you decide to go to London, you will know that London is like the Lagos of UK. if you understand what I mean. So yeah, make your research. This is for part of the UK. What part do you want to go to? You might want to look at your standard of living. Yeah, another reason why I picked Wales was because it has a low standard of living. So you might want to look at the standard of living. You might want to look at job opportunities where you can get job. You might want to look at where your course is going to be like valuable, if you understand what I mean. Is your course is selling cake in that area of the UK that you want to pick, and are they offering it in that school? Now, another thing that I'm going to talk about is the tuition fee. Now, one of the questions somebody asked me was, are there cheap schools in the UK? My sister, no school is cheap in this place. Like, no school is cheap. Now, of course, they have different tuition fees. Some are high, some are low. But let me just give you the basic thing that every school in this place is expensive. Compare with our naira, with our naira rather. If you compare it to the Nigerian money, compare it to the Nigerian schools, schools here are more expensive compared to the ones we have back home. And I'm talking for Nigeria, being in Nigeria myself, coming from Nigeria, you can compare. Like the gap is so much. So yes, there's no cheap school in this place, but at the same time, there are schools that their tuition fee is more higher than the other. Now, while I was processing or trying to look for schools, I got admission like almost 10 schools. And then I started picturing how those schools that have higher fees and those that I can actually afford and those that you cannot afford, you understand? Because we have some schools that their tuition fee is as high as £20,000, £25,000. And the lowest tuition fee that I've ever seen in this place is £9,000. And I heard that it happened because it was COVID and they wanted to just give students like discount, if you understand what I mean, which means that it probably only happened last year and last 2 years, right? That was 2020 and 2021. And I don't know if it's still happening. I'm going to check and I'll let you guys know. But that's the lowest I've seen, £9,000. And if you convert that to naira, it's still expensive. Okay. Now, another thing I'm going to tell you about picking school is check their payment method. What are the payment methods they have? Do they allow you to pay in installment? What kind of structure is in place for their finance? Now, for my school, I'm allowed to pay my school fees in 3 installments and is in different percentages. You understand? Before I go enroll, I had to pay 50%. Sorry, before I go enroll, I had to pay 50%, and after enrollment, I had to pay 25% and 25%. Now, there's some school that allows like 6 installments. I've heard of 6 installments. I've heard of 4 installments, and there are some schools that is just 2 installments. You pay 50% upon enrollment and 50% after enrollment. So make sure you look out of these things while checking for schools on Google. Okay, just type it in on Google, cheapest schools or cheapest university in the United Kingdom. It brings out a list. From that list, kind of screen out schools that offer your course, the course you want to go for. Okay. Now, after you get that, you might want to look at their finances. What's their finance structure? How do they allow you to pay their fees? Because I've seen schools that they don't joke with the 50%, basically. They don't joke with the 50%. They start to threaten you, and trust me, that is not good for your mental health. As talking from somebody that has been there, yeah, it's not good for your mental health because you start thinking of a lot of things. You're scared, you don't know what to do. So make sure that you have your 50% before enrollment. Now, another thing I'm going to talk to you about is the amount of money to be paid for deposit. Now, there's something called deposit in all UK schools, and of course, you have to pay this before you can get your CAS. CAS is certificate of acceptance of studies, something like that. And this is what you need to apply for your visa. You don't have a CAS, you cannot apply for visa, because basically CAS is like a sponsoring letter of the school saying that, okay, we are the one that's giving you admission and asked him or her to come to the school, and then your visa can be granted. So before schools gives you CAS, they always ask you to make a deposit. Now, this deposit varies across schools. Okay, there are some schools that I think the lowest I've seen is £1,000. That's the lowest I've seen, and I've seen the highest going as far as 4,005. So there are different schools with different way they want to do it. For my school, it was £2,000 that we paid, and then after that, you have to pay 50% before enrollment. Okay, and before you can enroll, that is like the start of the semester. So it automatically means that if you do not pay like half of your tuition fee, you cannot start your studies, like if you get what I mean. So that's how it is. So look for schools that also offer cheap deposits that you can work with. Now, during my quest of finding the schools I can work with, I got schools that actually asked me to pay like 4,000, 3,000, and I actually had a good course. But at the same time, that money at that time, coupled with the fact that you're going to spend a lot on visa processing, flight money, like I'm definitely going to talk about all this in some other videos, but you just need to have a school that takes like a reasonable amount for deposits, if you get what I mean. Now, another entry requirement that you might want to look out for is, do they accept WAEC or NECO, or you have to write high LTS. Okay, there are some schools that they will just not accept the fact that we are speaking English, they are speaking English, but that does not convince them enough. You still need to write high out for them to know that, okay, you have a good standard or a good understanding of English. And there are some schools that they are good with WAEC, they are good with NECO, and they're just good. For my school, Swansea University, I used my NECO results for my English, and I'm here. I'm good. There are some schools that do not allow that. Some schools do not even accept NECO. They stick strictly to WAEC. So you might want to look at that. And another thing about schools is that UK universities do not accept WAEC results or NECO results that are 10 years and above. That are more than 10 years, if you understand what I mean. That is, if your certificate is 9 years old, 8 years, 7 years, you're good to go. But once your certificate is like 11 years, 12 years, that you're getting old, no, they're not going to accept that as a proof of English. Now, what do we want to talk about again about school? Yeah, when you're also picking out school, you might want to check out your modules. What is that course entail? Because one thing I've noticed here is, although the course might have the name that you have in mind, but then the module, like the breakdown courses that will be taught under that module, might not be something you are familiar with. Now, coming from a practical place of experience, there's this module that I registered for, and they call it visual representation, like visual communication rather. It was visual communication, and at first I thought it was probably going to be dealing with more of signs. We're going to be doing, face expression, how you express yourself while talking, But after I started doing the module, I figured out that it has to do more with designs, okay, and it made me struggle at first because I didn't have any background knowledge of design apart from me using Canva for my YouTube channel and things like that. And he helped. Don't get me wrong, he helped. But at the same time, it kind of threw me off balance because that was not what I was prepared for, if you get what I mean. So even though the school has the course, make sure you check the modules that are being offered under it to be sure that, okay, is online with what you have in mind or with the kind of course that you want to do. Okay. Now, another question here before I draw the curtain on how to pick a school is the person asking the kind, like, is HND accepted? Like an HND holder, can you get a school in the United Kingdom? Yes, you can. I've seen people who had HND and they are doing fine here. They're in school, and I know that as opposed to Canada, because I know some schools in Canada, they have like a strict cap of class that you have to have before you can proceed with your masters. But in UK here, some schools give HND holders, their course admission. So yeah, you having HND does not stop you from actually looking for a school here in the United Kingdom. All right, the last question before we call it a day is, somebody asks that, how do I write my statement of purpose, and is this important in all UK schools? Well, it is important for you to get your admission. You need your statement of purpose. Some call it statement of interest. Some call it, what again? It's just statement. You need to express the reason why they should give you an admission. And somehow, I feel like the UK schools take the statement of purpose more important than even whatever kind of qualifications that you have, in the sense that it's not as if they don't recognize the fact that you have a first class, a second class, or a third class, or whatever it is, but you have to be able to convince us that you have an understanding of what you want to use that your course to do. You have to be able to convince them that you understand your career path. You're passionate in what you're doing. You're not just coming here because you just want to use it as a way to jackpot, if you understand what I mean. But at the same time, you have interest in studying that course, and that is what your statement of purpose or statement of interest is all about. It's not hard. You can divide it into three paragraphs. Your first paragraph is your introduction, talking about yourself, what you did in your undergrad, whatever it is that you want to tell them. Then your main body, you should be able to tell them why you want to study that course. What are the relevant, probably work experience that you've had. What kind of achievement have you done? What kind of project you've been on? Whatever it is that you feel is related to that course, and you're seeing it in your career path. And the end of it is, why you want to harness that ability you have, why you want to harness your skills, why you want to, be able to learn under a reputable institution for you to build yourself more and be okay when you start your own career fully. If you understand what I mean. So that's what our statement of purpose is all about. And trust me, do not even think of copying online, because these people, they will know. They will know if you copy it online. So they would like honesty. They want you to express yourself. And at the same time, be careful with your grammar, your use of words. Be careful with slangs. Be careful with hyperbolic expression, like too much, very much, things like that. You have to be careful about that as well. And yes, you need statement of purpose to apply to any school in the United Kingdom. And you will want your statement of purpose to be like, sincere. You want to be able to tell them the reason why they should give you that admission. I think I've covered all questions on how to pick school, what you need to know when picking a school. And yeah, I think I've done that. So, guys, oh, okay, sorry. The last question here concerning school says that what are the requirements to get an admission in the UK? Well, different schools have different requirements, okay? And there's some schools that do not need more than your statement of purpose and your BSc certificate if you're coming for postgraduate. And if you're coming for undergraduate, they need just your WAEC or your NECO result or your A-level result, depending on the equivalent you want to submit and your statement of purpose. And there are some schools that will require you to send your CV. Now, some will say, why CV? What does CV concern with admission? CV is usually for those that are coming for postgraduate, being the fact that there's been a gap between when you did your undergrad and when you're coming for your postgrad. So they want to know what you've been doing during the period of the break that you had, and if you had any relevant experience to the course you're coming for your postgraduate. That's why I said that in your statement of interest, on your statement of purpose, you want to tell them the achievement you have, experiences that you've had, or some project you've worked on that is in relation with the course that you're coming for. So same way with the CV, they want to see what you've been doing, if it's in line with the course you're coming for. And if it's not in line, you have to have a statement of purpose that will convince them enough that even though the experiences and whatever it is you've been gathering is different from what you studied, this is the reason why you're coming for this study. And for most of us in Nigeria, we usually do not work in line with whatever it is that we study in our undergrad. You get? So you have to also use that statement of purpose to convince them that even though I studied what example can I use now? Okay, even though I studied botany in school and I'm into communications, I've been able to gather experience in communications, working in so TV station, or being doing that, things like that, and then you use your CV to back it up. Or if you have experience in working in communications all along, and now you want to cross to social work or childcare or what is it, nursing or something, your statement of purpose also will have to convince them the reason why you want to now divert into nursing. Because one thing I've noticed here is they allow you to switch career. You necessarily do not need to stick to one career all your life. You can easily just switch, being the fact that you have like a genuine reason why you want to now be passionate about the new career path that you want to take, if that makes sense. Yeah, so different document for different schools. But one thing that I know was realizing some basic document that I know is actually paramount to every school is that we need your BSc certificate. They want an English proficiency certificate, whether it's your IELTS or your NECO or your WAEC, depending on what school you're going to. And then your statement of purpose is very, very important. And at the same time, you would want to have your CV as well to show that you've not just been lazy around during the gap that you had between your undergrad and your postgrad. I hope that answers your question. All right, guys, I think this is where I'm going to draw the curtain today on questions about schools. How do I pick a school? What kind of school to pick? How do I know the right school to pick? I think this video should be able to help you with that. And in the next video, we will be talking about after I've picked the school, admission is here. What next? Watch out.